Hey yo, Duval, what's good? It's your boy UC at Jaguar, and I'm back from GenJag.com. And really interesting bye week that's going on. Not a very quiet one, as the Jaguars have been making a lot of noise in the news a lot. First off, we go and extend Telvin Smith to a 4-year, $50 million deal. And then after that, the Jaguars decide to trade a 6th-round pick for Marcell Dareus, a defensive tackle out of the Bills, a former All-Pro player. And now there are rumors going around this morning that the Jaguars and Eagles are both potentially interested in a trade for former Detroit Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson, aka Megatron. Now this is a really interesting conversation because the Jaguars are desperately missing a red zone option. With Al Robinson out, we're really missing a lot with him. He's such a dynamic piece to our offense. And also with Michael Rivera being out, Allen Robinson and Michael Rivera were both supposed to be our two big red zone body kind of guys that, just big bodies that we can get the ball to. But with both of them injured, we've had to have basically Marcedes Lewis step in and be our red zone receiver. There's a reason why he has so many more touchdown receptions this year than he has the last few years. This isn't what Marcedes Lewis is supposed to do. They've been trying to replace him all the time. I mean, you go back to 2015, they tried to replace him with receiving tight end Julius Thomas. That didn't work out. In 2017, they tried to replace him with Michael Rivera, another pass-catching tight end. That didn't work out, so Marcedes Lewis, who usually sticks to, his skill set is blocking, has been forced to really be our red zone threat and really be forced to do things that the Jaguars probably weren't planning on him doing at the beginning of the season with Al Robinson and Michael Rivera being out. I've been saying for a while now that I really want to be able to get a big body receiver. I've even talked about maybe getting Vincent Jackson, or even a guy like Odell Green Beckham or whatever. Dorial Green Beckham is his name, yeah. I was talking about getting those guys. They're big threat kind of player, or big receiver kind of players. And freaking Calvin Johnson, this dude is huge. I mean, this dude was a freaking animal back when he played. But do I see this trade happening? Honestly, I don't. It's because for a few different reasons. First of all, when we go and traded for Marcell Dareus, we traded for a guy that's already in football shape. He just played a game like last week. He's a guy that's been, playing for a while. Calvin Johnson, on the other hand, has been out of football for 2 seasons now. And for him to be able to come back in the middle of a season and be able to be in like football shape and get acclimated to the offense, be able to develop a relationship with the quarterback, it just doesn't seem like a very likely option. I mean, I remember when, like, Marshawn Lynch, for example. It seems like a similar thing with him and Marshawn Lynch, the way they were both kind of out of football. Another team owned their rights. And then, once Marshawn Lynch was wanting to come back and play football, they basically just traded like a 6th-round pick for him. And then just, let him go play the rest of his career out over in Seattle, or over in Oakland. But the thing with Megatron is this isn't the offseason. This is literally right in the middle of the season. Literally right in the middle. It's like week 9 coming up. And really I just don't see like Calvin Johnson be able to like come back and like, get in the game and be able to like, be effective right away. It's an interesting inquiry, and I definitely think that Megatron can still play. Like, the reason why he retired was because he just does not have a very good relationship with the Detroit Lions. He was fed up with them losing all the time. He didn't like the way they treated him, and I guess there's something with him and like the ownership. Like, he doesn't even like really associate with the Lions anymore. Like, he hasn't really even been back to the facilities. But one thing about Calvin Johnson is he's like a very smart dude. He's a guy from like Georgia Tech. If you heard him in like press conferences, like, he's a very educated dude. And it seemed like to me, when he retired, it was partly because of, just his relationship with the Lions and stuff like that. But it was also just because, he sees all this like concussion kind of stuff going on. He knows that he's like absolutely rich, and he's probably a guy that invested his money really well. So maybe he looked at it and said, I don't absolutely like love the game of football. I have my health. I have my millions of dollars that I've earned. He probably invested that very well, and he's probably a guy that's basically, I don't know if he's satisfied with his NFL career, but it almost seemed like he was ready to end it like early. But I do think that if the Detroit is actually trying to like shop him. I'd see like, you know, say both the Jaguars and the Eagles both threw in like a 5th or 6th round pick. The tie would probably go to Jacksonville just because they're an AFC opponent and they don't have to like play against them all the time, and they probably don't want to add to like the NFC's richest team and give them a guy like Calvin Johnson. But just with this trade, like, it's really, really interesting to read about and it's exciting, and I really think that that's really missing that like red zone big threat. I just don't see it happening. Love Calvin Johnson, love to see him in a Jaguars uniform, but for him to be able to get in football shape and just be learning in this offense and like get right back into it, and like he hasn't even like, no one's even said that he's interested in coming back and playing. This is just kind of like, I guess some team is going out and inquiring about him, but I'm not sure, man. But a lot of you guys have been like hitting me up asking for about my thoughts about this, but that's my thoughts. Love Calvin Johnson. I just don't see it a realistic possibility that he'd come in the middle of a season for a trade and play like this. You know, it's a lot different with a guy like Marcel Darius. But yeah, man, that's all I got. There's your boy UC Jaguar with JinJag.com. Go Jags, and I'm out.